Have you ever pulled back from someone, stopped chasing, stopped texting, stopped being available, and suddenly, out of nowhere, they came running back? If you have, you are not imagining it. There is a reason this happens, and it is not a coincidence. It is psychology. It is human nature. And once you understand why it works, you will never look at silence the same way again. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because we break down relationship psychology in a way that actually makes sense for your real life. Today, we are getting into something that so many of you have asked about. Why does giving someone distance make them come back? We are going deep, and we are giving you all reasons. 1. Absence reawakens what familiarity put to sleep. When you are always available, always present, always accessible, people stop appreciating you. It is not because they are bad people, it is because the human brain adapts to what is constant. Scientists call this hedonic adaptation. Whatever is always there stops feeling special, no matter how truly valuable it actually is. When you step back and create distance, you interrupt that adaptation. Suddenly, the texts stop, the calls stop. The consistent presence they had grown so used to disappears. And just like that, your absence creates a spotlight on everything they had been taking for granted. They start remembering the way you made them laugh, the way you made them feel safe, the way your presence added warmth to their days. Distance does not erase you from their mind, it magnifies you. You don't realize the value of what you have until it is no longer in your hands. 2. The scarcity effect makes you irresistible. Economics taught us that when something becomes rare, it becomes more desirable. The same principle applies directly to people. When you were always available, you were the common commodity. When you pull back, you become the limited edition. And everyone wants what they cannot easily have. This is not manipulation. This is simply understanding how human desire works. When someone realizes they can no longer reach you at will, when they realize you are no longer orbiting their life the way you once were, your value in their eyes skyrockets. You went from being a guaranteed presence to being something they now have to earn. That shift in dynamic is deeply powerful, and it is often what triggers the first reach out after distance. 3. Their ego cannot handle being the one who is left. Let us be honest about something that most relationship advice glosses over. Ego plays an enormous role in who reaches out first. Many people, especially those who are emotionally avoidant or accustomed to being pursued, operate with an unconscious expectation that you will always be there. You are the one who reaches out. You are the one who makes the effort. You are the one who fills the silence. When you stop doing that, it disrupts the entire internal story they have written about the dynamic between you two. Their ego starts to feel the sting of being on the receiving end of distance. They may not fully understand why it bothers them. They may not even admit it to themselves. But that discomfort drives behavior, and more often than not, it drives them straight back to you. 4. They begin to fear they have lost you for good. There is a significant difference between someone who is temporarily unavailable and someone who is truly gone. When you first pull back, they may not take it seriously. They may assume you will return to your previous patterns quickly. But as the distance stretches, as days turn into a week, as your energy genuinely shifts, a new emotion begins to rise in them: fear. Fear of loss is one of the most motivating emotional forces in human relationships. When someone who cared deeply for them starts to feel genuinely out of reach, the brain sends an alarm. What if this is permanent? What if I actually lost something real? That fear pushes them to act in ways that comfort and reassurance never could. Distance forces them to confront the real possibility of life without you, and many people do not like what they see when they imagine that. People chase what is running and take for granted what is standing still. Space gives them room to actually miss you. You cannot miss someone who is always there. Missing is an experience that requires absence. When you are constantly present, responding instantly, showing up at every opportunity, filling every moment of silence, you leave no room for longing to grow. And longing, real longing, is what creates the emotional pull that brings people back. When you step back, you create a vacuum. And nature, as we know, abhors a vacuum. The space you leave gets filled with memories of you, with questions about where you went, with the realization of what your presence actually meant to their daily emotional experience. Distance creates the conditions under which missing someone becomes not just possible, but inevitable. And once they are genuinely missing you, reaching out is not far behind. 6. Your energy shift is felt even without a single word. One of the most fascinating aspects of human connection is that we communicate far more than we realize without ever saying a word. When you change your energy, when you genuinely stop fixating on someone, when you redirect your attention to your own life, your own healing, your own growth, that shift is felt. Not in a mystical way, but in a very practical one. You stop watching their social media. You stop responding immediately. You stop showing up in the peripheral ways that signal you are still focused on them. The energy you were projecting outward gets redirected inward, and ironically, that inward redirection often becomes the most magnetic thing you have ever done. They sense that something has shifted. They sense that the door that was always open may actually be closing. That awareness is what brings them knocking. 7. You remind them of who they were attracted to in the first place. Think back to when things first started between you. Chances are you were living your own life. You had your own routines, your own ambitions, your own fullness as a person. That is the version of you they were drawn to. That independence, that completeness, that energy of someone who does not need anyone to feel whole. That was attractive. When you over-pursue or become emotionally dependent in a relationship, you can lose that quality without even realizing it. But when you step back and return to your own life, you naturally return to that original version of yourself. And the person watching from a distance, they remember exactly why they were interested in you to begin with. Distance does not just make you more scarce, it makes you more yourself. And your authentic self is exactly what they fell for. Your return to yourself is often more powerful than anything you could say to bring them back. 8. Silence forces the honest conversation they were avoiding. Avoidant people, emotionally unavailable people, and those who struggle with vulnerability often stay in comfortable patterns specifically to avoid having honest conversations about how they feel. When you are always there, always warm, always forgiving of the inconsistency, there is no urgency. They can keep things comfortable and undefined indefinitely. But when you go quiet, when you remove the comfort of your consistent presence, they are suddenly forced to sit alone with how they actually feel. No more distraction. No more taking the connection for granted. They have to face the questions they had been dodging. Do I actually want this person in my life? Do I care about them more than I have been showing? What does it mean that I feel this unsettled by their silence? That honest reckoning is often what finally moves emotionally guarded people to reach out and say something real. 9. Distance is the greatest revealer of true feelings. This is perhaps the most important reason of all, and it is one that serves you deeply regardless of whether they come back or not. Distance reveals the truth. When you stop pursuing, stop performing, stop making it easy, you get to see clearly who someone really is and how much you actually matter to them. If they come back genuinely and with effort, you have your answer. If they do not, if the silence is met with more silence, you also have your answer. And that answer, as painful as it may be, is the most valuable information you could ever receive. Distance does not just bring people back, it reveals whether they were ever truly present in the first place. You deserve to know the truth, and giving someone space is one of the most honest ways to discover it. Before you go, subscribe to this channel. If this video gave you clarity, a new perspective, or even just the reassurance that what you are going through makes sense, imagine what you will gain when you have access to all of the content on this channel. Every single week, we are breaking down relationship psychology, emotional patterns, healing, and the tools you need to show up powerfully in your own life. Do not miss it. Subscribe to this channel right now. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. And drop a comment below. Have you ever given someone distance and had them come back? Tell us your story. This community is a space where real conversations happen, and your experience matters here. Remember this, the moment you stop running after someone and start walking toward yourself, everything changes. Your peace is the most attractive thing you own. Protect it, invest in it, and never shrink yourself just to keep someone comfortable. See you in the next video. Subscribe, share, stay empowered.